So, from the start, safety and transparency have been two of your biggest, strengths.
Right.
So, when it comes to cyber security, what exactly are the next steps from your ministry?
Well, cyber security is a huge issue as the harms are. It is one of the big harms that we see. Cyber security is really in two types of buckets. One is, of course, cyber fraud as we know it. And then there is state actors doing cyber security, which is really very sophisticated, concerted actions against, governments. On the retail cyber security or cyber fraud, if I may call it that, we have a peculiar problem in India, which is that law and order is a state subject. Now, 85 to 88% of all cyber frauds in India operate in the following manner. You, the victim, will be in one state, I, the perpetrator, will be in a second state, and the crime actually will be in a third state. Now imagine the police that in many states are not even equipped for cyber investigations. Now you bring in three different jurisdictions to try and coordinate a crime that is a retail cyber fraud. So we have that little challenge on how do we have three different police jurisdictions coordinate and collaborate to investigate and prosecute cybercrime. So, which is why many cyber crimes and cyber frauds are going unprosecuted. It is an issue for which we have had many discussions with state governments. Some state governments are very responsive to this. Some state governments don't rank it as a high priority, because there are many states where rape, murder, terrorism, dacoity and robbery are far serious for the police of that state than cybercrime. But we hope that with new legislation and with new awareness, state governments will start aligning to being able to investigate and prosecute cybercrimes and do so in a coordinated manner with other states.
Because you mentioned terrorism, with our neighbors, cyber terrorism has been an open book, but nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
So, where does this stop? I mean,
No, look, I want to share with your audience that this is a very clear and present danger. It is happening as we speak. I can't mention countries, but I can certainly tell you that there are very concerted attempts on a day-to-day basis, almost hourly basis, where state actors are trying to hack our systems, are trying to destabilize our cyberspace, and we have built significant capabilities to detect it, preempt it, and we continue to do so. It is, for us as India, with $1 trillion digital economy that is going to rest on the internet, it is absolutely important that our capabilities of protecting our cyberspace from vested interests, cross-border or even internal, is very top-notch and top-line. We are working on it. We have some excellent capabilities today. Nobody should ever believe that we don't have the capabilities. We have very extensive capabilities today to detect, identify where patterns of behavior are coming from. And that capability is being built up even more significantly. There are many startups that we are working with that have very, very deep capabilities in this area. And it is certainly one of the priority areas for us to protect our rise as a digital economy power, to ensure that that rise is smooth and not disrupted by vested interests. And certainly there are many people who would like that rise to be blocked.
Absolutely.
And slowed down. So we understand our job and we are on it.
So the world is looking at India as the growth engine for the global economy. And a lot of that growth is going to come from digital economy, right? So where in digital economy are the opportunities?
Look, you're absolutely right. Like I said, I think earlier I said the digital economy today is growing at 2.5 times the GDP. The GDP is already the fastest in the world, so the digital economy is also galloping at the fastest rate in the world. We are receiving the highest amount of FDI as a share of all the FDI. And we are not seeing that slow down for at least the next 5 years. In terms of opportunities, we have a very solid piece of the digital economy, which is the ITS, that continues to grow solidly. We have the consumer internet and the D2C segment that is growing significantly. We have the new and emerging segments, which are what you can broadly refer to them as deep tech, but it includes electronics manufacturing, electronics new system design, semiconductor manufacturing, semiconductor design. So we are bolting on to the existing momentum, all of these new areas, by funding them, by providing talent support, by providing research and R&D support. And I think the $1 trillion goal will be surpassed by 26-27. So we know the direction. For example, in manufacturing, I don't know how many of your audience knows. In 2014, the total amount of electronics manufacturing in our country was less than 1 lakh crores. By 25-26, it will be 25 lakh crores. 25 time growth in just a decade. In 2014, and I love using this example, so I'm going to do it again anyway. This 2014, the mobile phones, 90% of mobile phones consumed in India were imported.
Yeah.
And this year, 2022, almost 100% is assembled and made in India. In 2014, we exported 0. And last year alone, we exported 1 lakh crores of Apple phones and Samsung phones to the rest of the world. So that is the journey that we have traveled in the last 9 years. That is how our digital economy has expanded. And, and for those who are interested in knowing, these big, huge factories that have come, global standard factories that have come up in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Noida and UP, employ 78% women.
Wow.
And these are women from rural and semi-urban areas. And that is the transformation, the qualitative transformation, that the benefits of the digital economy are not in Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Gurugram, Delhi and Mumbai alone. They are in Madurai, they are in Visakhapatnam, they are in Meerut, they are in Ghaziabad. So really, digital economy is proving to be a very, very inclusive program that the Prime Minister envisioned in 2015 and is really transforming people's lives and people's opportunities all over the country.
Interestingly, around a decade ago, there was a terminology commonly used. It was called digital divide. Now there is no digital divide. There's only digital inclusion. If you can just take us through that journey. Yeah,
actually that's a good question, because I was in one of those slightly think tankish programs about a year ago, and there was a slightly different audience with all think tank people. And somebody from Europe stood up, and after I was evangelizing about technology, said, but sir, we think technology is very exclusionary. How do you deal with digital divide? So I said, Mr. So-and-so, if you come to India, you will see how the Prime Minister has used technology to be a power of inclusion. That people who are outside the realm of government and governance are connecting to government today because of technology. And I will share an example with you. Just some months ago, I traveled to a remote district in Nagaland, 9.5 hours by road from the airport, and I reached the community center. And first of all, they told me that I was the first minister they were seeing after 65 years. So 9.5 hours, obviously not very many ministers like that journey. Then I asked them, how many of you have digital identity Aadhaar? All 700 members in the community hall raised their hand. How many of you receive your subsidies and how many of you have JDY accounts? All of them raised their hands. How many of you receive your subsidies and benefits on the phone? Everybody raised their hand. So imagine this district, this community who hasn't seen a minister for 65 years, far removed from the mainstream of governance, is still connected to the government and all the programs and benefits because of technology. If that is not the power of inclusion, what else is? So when I explained it to that gentleman, of course he sat down and then probably changed his think tank and moved to another think tank. But that is the basis. We have demonstrated to the world how technology can transform the lives of those who have for many decades and years been excluded and been far removed from government. And that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji in 2015. He said, my first objective out of tech is not to create billionaires and to create unicorns, but to transform governance, to transform democracy and transform the lives of 1 billion Indians. And he certainly has shown that India is a case study where technology has achieved that.
It's a good day to be an Indian.
It is a good day, it is a good year, and I think it's going to be a good decade. It was a good 10 years, and it will be a good 10 years going forward as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.